So, can we say it now? Can we say that Roush is back, or RFK as we now call them? Welcome, everybody, to another post-race stream, another Monday post-race stream. The first one where we cover a race that started on Sunday and ended on Monday. Man, Michigan with this car is definitely a redemption story, I would say. Michigan has been so fun to watch in the two races so far with this car. I had a blast with this race. I don't know about you guys at home. I wish everyone that was there in that jam-packed grandstands could have seen it too. I got the broadcast muted right here on my phone, so whenever we get the playoff update, we will have it right there for you. But first off, I want to thank all of you guys for coming in on a Monday. So many of you. We are only 17 subscribers away from 65K. So if anyone wants to jump aboard the Iceberg, I'm more than happy to have you on. We do this every week. Let's get into this race, the 2023 Firekeepers Casino 400. Poll is in the community tab right now. Let's get into the finishing order of this race, as well as some of the finer details. This race was 200 laps long, 9 cautions, 16 leaders with 26 lead changes. It went for, on record, 3 hours, 2 minutes, 57 seconds, but we really know it went about 22 hours, give or take. So a marathon of a race. Nobody was safe in this one. And the finishing order, I think, in a lot of ways, speaks to this. So let's get into who finished where on this. We will read the Super Chats after we get through the results and possibly, if they have it up, points. And then after we get done with the race itself, I actually have some cool memorabilia. I think once a week I'll show you a piece of memorabilia I have that maybe others might not have. I don't know. We'll find out. But let's get into this race here. Chris Buescher, the second Ford driver in a row to go back-to-back in these last 2 years at Richmond and at Michigan. Kevin Harvick did it last year, as long as my memory serves me right. But Buescher gets the win and solidly puts himself in that championship and playoff conversation. From there, you have Martin Truex Jr., the dominant car of the day, the dominant driver of the day, getting a second-place run. Denny Hamlin up to third. Brad Keselowski, fourth. He was up there running for the win, gets fourth at his home track. And a very quiet and lone bright spot for Hendrick Motorsports in Kyle Larson in the fifth position. Top 5 for Larson. Had to use a little bit of strategy there, a little bit of luck, a little bit of all of it. But he manages to get a top 5. Daniel Suarez, probably the hard charger of the race at the end, gets a 6th place finish over Ross Chastain in 7th. A much needed back, both of them getting in the top 10 for Trackhouse. Much needed for both of them. After that, we got Ryan Blaney in 9th, and 10th is Eric Jones. Now, as we get through the top 10, let's pause the broadcast right now. We have the updated playoff standings. Top 12, of course, are the winners, putting Chris Buescher now solidly up to 6th, tied with guys like Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. Not something I think was on everybody's bingo card going into the year. But looking at the points right now, Kevin Harvick is in 13th plus 180. Let me see if my math adds up here. But I believe, as long as there's not a new winner and he starts next week, he should be locked in the playoffs. Same will go for Brad Keselowski in 14th plus 168. Bubba Wallace plus 58. Unless somebody wins, he is a full race worth of points from second to last, ahead of the cut line, plus 58 and 15th. Ty Gibbs, the rookie, jumps up into the top 16, now plus 3 over another struggling day with Michael McDowell, who's now 17th. From there, we have Daniel Suarez minus 5, so that 16th to 18th, really, really close. 19th will be AJ Allmendinger minus 24. Alex Bowman, another struggling day, minus 44. Could have been much worse, could have lost a lot more points. Luckily for Bowman, he manages to get on into the top 20. From there, I don't know how far back Chase Elliott is, but I would assume it's at least got to be 50 at this point. But I got to say, it's getting tight, and Ty Gibbs, I think, is the, yes, Suarez had the better finish, but Ty Gibbs, I think, has shown more consistent speed in the last couple of races. Now, let's get through the rest of this finishing order, and then we can get into the race itself and talk about some of these super chats guys left. I appreciate it a ton. And click that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and the subscribers, too, that are jumping on. I really appreciate it. I want to see, how far away are we from 65? We are, come on, load. We are 12 away. 12 away. But let's get through the rest of this finishing order. From there, 11th on down, we have Ty Gibbs in 11th. 12th, Austin Cindric. From there, you got Bell in 13th. Then 14th, Joey Logano. Corey LaJoie, 15th. 16th will be Eric Almirola. Harrison Burton with the 17th place run. Doesn't really talk about how well he ran for most of the race. Bubba Wallace, 18th. Doesn't really talk about how well he ran for most of the race. Austin Dillon tried to stay out later than anybody else. Really wasn't a factor. Comes home 19th. Ty Dillon with the top 20. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 21st. Final car in the lead lap. Now, we have a plethora of cars that were a lap down, starting with Ryan Preece in 22nd. Justin Haley, 23rd. 24th is the 34 of Michael McDowell. Cole Custer in 25th. Then 26th, AJ Allmendinger. And 27th, JJ Yaley, who you might not have guessed it, finishing 27th, a lap down. But JJ Yaley actually had a pretty good comeback, being down, I believe, 4 laps at one time and getting back to the lead lap before, by the end of it, not being able to keep the pace that those front fast cars could do. Ends up a lap down, 27th. Austin Hill, 28th, -2. Todd Gilliland, 29th, -3. 3 laps down as well for 30th place. Tyler Reddick, we'll talk about his issues in a moment. Chase Briscoe, also 31st. 3 laps down. And last car finishing on the track was Josh Bilicki, 4 laps down. And 32nd. The rest of these guys are out of this race. Starting with, and thank you for that super chat. Again, I will get to those as soon as we get done with this. But 5 guys finished out of the race in this one. 33rd place, Alex Bowman. 34th place, Josh Berry in the 42. The 24 of William Byron in 35th. 36th place, Chase Elliott. And last place, with a quick trip of a race, I know that's going to be overplayed. I don't care. I'm going to mess with Kyle Busch fans with it. Kyle Busch gets a last place run. Now, looking at, and let me say this, I had fun with this race, and I think it was pretty good. There were things that need to still be improved, which were proven by the dirty air. We will talk about that as well. But really quick, I want to thank you guys who've left some super chats. Albert Stacy, thank you for the 5. Called out for work for this. Finally, the Ford showed up. They showed up all right, looking at those top finishers. Busher, Brad's up there. Harvick, Blaney. I think Cindric ran pretty well today. Logano was up in the top 10. Eric Almirola was in the top 15 for much of the day. So Harrison Burton was in the top 10. And it wasn't all off strategy. It was actually, a lot of it was off speed. So good run for him as well. Just didn't get the finish. From there, we got Bryce Sizemore. Thank you for the 5. That's what I call a statement win for Chris and the RFK team. It is. I made a video a couple months back. Is Roush back? And people laughed about it. And I was like, no, this is a team getting slept on right now. Like, look out for this team, especially if Brad can get it turned on and start getting better. We know how good of a driver Brad Keselowski is. So he can definitely get it done. And it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but the paramedics are going by again. I tell you what, this race, every race ends up killing somebody in this town, I think. It's amazing. It never fails. My God, it gets louder every time, too. Crash the Hedgehog 92, thank you for the 5. Today shows us 2 things. You can have the fastest car, but you have to execute, too. RFK is becoming legit. Watch out. Yeah, spam the ambulances in there. Spam the ambulances in the chat if you want. Wolfion 0617, thank you for the 5. I haven't watched a full race since Coda, and as a Bowman fan, it's so hard to even bother this season. It's been miserable since that penalty. I feel you. Suffering as a Dale Jr. fan for so long, I feel you. CBB, thank you for the 5. Chris Buescher should toss a little of that winning purse to Reddick's crew. He couldn't have done it without them. Yeah, we'll talk about 2311 being a complete mess with pit crews as well. It doesn't matter how well they run, how good of cars they bring, how well the drivers and crew chiefs execute. For some reason, 2311's crews are just god-awful. Oh, baby, thank you for the 10. I've been seeing lots of people complaining about how since Chicago, almost every race has a problem for weather, and it's getting old that races have to be. I agree. And I feel bad because that Michigan crowd is probably well over 50,000. It's probably the biggest one they've had since Dale Jr. was racing up front there in like 2015, 14, 13. I went to races at Michigan, like a race in 2016. There was no one there. Like when Junior got concussed, nobody there except for the infield. So maybe if they move it around the schedule a little bit, I know that there's going to have to be some fine tuning next year because of the Olympics on NBC. Maybe moving it back to the Father's Day slot. I don't know. Michigan has always been hampered with rain, and I think it's just bad luck this year, man. I think it's just a lot of bad luck with weather. There's seasons like 2004 and 5 where no race has rained to the next day, and then there's seasons like this one where, looking at my notes, we've had pretty much 7, 8 of the last 9 races impacted in some way by weather. I'll read 3 more here, and then we'll get to the highlights of the race. JT, thank you for the 2. Today definitely made up for Sunday's weather. Thank you for your first super chat in the channel, and I agree. I think it was a lot of fun. By the way, we're 7 away from 65K, so thank you guys for jumping aboard. Video Game Sports, thank you for the 5. At one point on MRN, they accidentally called Chris Buescher Kurt Buescher. I miss Kurt Busch. But that is funny. Alex Johanning, thank you for the 50. Wow, and for being a member. Chris Buescher, 2 wins out of nowhere. I don't think it was out of nowhere. I think they've had this speed for a while. And we'll read these last 2 super chats that people have left, and then we will get right to it. Marky Mark for the 5. Wasn't able to watch. Did I miss a good one? I personally think so. I can look really quick and see how the poll is looking. Poll is on the community tab on the channel if you guys want. People seem to have liked it. At least people who are able to watch. And then Aaron Hall, thank you for the 2. The 17 in Victory Lane will always make me smile. You know what? It's making me smile too. I've missed it. I actually have a Matt Kenseth 17 diecast, like little 164, right up over my perfect attendance for the NWP, which is this Wednesday on Eric's channel. But let's get to the race itself, shall we? Christopher Bell, not Buescher, Bell. From one Christopher up front to the other, Bell won the pole. There were brief rain delays at the start. I think it rain delayed it by maybe an hour, give or take. It's been a day. I don't remember. But the pace laps ran, but the cars would be brought back to the pits, and the start was delayed by 2 hours. That's why I take notes. It was delayed by 2 hours, but we finally went green. It was raining at noon too. I'm a big guy for noon starts, but it wouldn't have helped this one. You got to be honest with everything right now. Noon would not have affected it at all. At least we got to watch the IndyCar race, though, unimpeded. But Chastain would grab the lead at the start, and it was the first time he had led since his win at Nashville. So, again, a much-needed strong run for Trackhouse. Both teams, 6th and 7th today. And by the way, while I'm thinking about it, how about I get that finishing order? The results up there for the Firekeepers Casino 400. I'm just thinking, man, I'm holding out too long on you on this one. But still, a lot of good speed shown there. It's something that they've desperately needed as well. But on lap 15, Kyle Busch would spin from underneath Ryan Blaney. Sounded like on the radio he blamed Blaney. I don't know if it was sarcasm or not, but he seemed to be a little more put together when they interviewed him. But Kyle Busch with a rough run, and they've had a pretty up and down season, honestly, for how well they have ran. But this would count as a competition yellow from there. Kyle Busch goes home with a last place finish. He probably was watching the race on TV today. On lap 20, you have the restart, and we see a common sight we would see for most of the day. Martin Truex Jr. goes to the lead. We'd see that a lot. Truex had what seemed like a damn near unstoppable car, but that unstoppable force would meet the immovable object of Chris Buescher later. We'll get to that, though. On lap 34, Chase Elliott has a right rear flat, crashes out of the race, and I think we can finally put the debate to bed. I know every time this happens, we say this, and then he has a great run. I think we can put the debate to bed if he's making it in off points. I think he's got to have a win. He's a great road course racer, good on super speedways. I'm not saying he's out of it. I'm just saying points-wise, starting to seem unrealistic for him to make it. He's at the very least, because I don't have anything past 20th in points on me, at the very least, he is 45 points out. So he'd have to make up 15 a race. He can do that, but it's starting to get unrealistic when you add in Daytona. You add in the craziness of the restart zone. Granted, it's been updated a little bit for the Indy road course. It's going to be rough. So I'm going to ask you guys now. Same poll I've been putting up every week. We're going to get a poll up there. Let's start a poll. Does Chase Elliott make the playoffs? Because he can still win, but in order to do so, it's going to be rough. So yes, he wins. Yes, off points. Or no, he misses. So 3 options here. Does Chase Elliott make the 2023 playoffs? Yes, he wins. Yes, off points. Or no, he misses out. So here you go. Poll is up now. Be sure to vote on it. I'm telling you, man, it's looking less and less likely. And I know people say he's going to win Watkins Glen. He very well may. He is great at Watkins Glen. Probably should have won there last year if it wasn't for some tomfoolery at the finish. But, man, you can't guarantee a win in NASCAR. And he's really not been the best road course guy. And, man, poll's starting off pretty negative for Chase right now. We will find out. We will find out how he's going to do. But back to the race on lap 38. We have the restart, top 11. It stayed out for the stage. They were going to go for stage points. The 19 leads. He wins the stage over Bubba Wallace in second. Third, Ty Gibbs. Ty with much-needed stage points as well. From there, you got Bad Brad Keselowski fourth in the stage. Larson fifth. Suarez sixth. And I'm realizing that fourth through sixth in this stage was the same as the finishing order of this race. That's something. Seventh, Alex Bowman. Much needed stage points from what we will talk about in a bit. Denny Hamlin in 8th. 9th is Eric Jones and Corey LaJoie, 10th in the stage. Also, we are 5 away from 65K, so if you're new here, subscribe. We do this every week. It's tons of fun, no matter when the hell we run this thing. But at the end of the stage, Byron would slam the turn 4 wall, ending it and ending his day. He finished 35th out of the race. And from there, go on to stage 2. By the way, if anyone wants to know, I take tons of notes. There was tons to talk about in this race. I'm so surprised how Michigan has turned into a track like this. Again, we'll talk a bit about the racing. I want to say this right now. The high side definitely is a little overpowered. Get somebody pinned down on the bottom. And it's been this way for a lot of cars for a long time, but it's still something that needs to be improved upon. I would have gave this race probably an 8-ish out of 10. Like I had fun with it. There was the ability easily to pass through the field. I keep track through the field the entire last run of each race, and there was tons of passing, different tire strategy. I thought it was pretty fun. But there is improvement that needs to be made with the racing product because it still, I think, is a little too difficult for the much faster car to pass a car with cleaner air. That will always be something NASCAR fights, but it still bears repeat. But stage 2 rolls around. Chris Buescher is the first off pit road when those who pit come down. Alex Bowman and Eric Jones are in the front row. In this restart, Josh Berry wrecks in turn 4, bringing out the caution. And then we have another restart where Bowman would lead again. Bell would spin only 6 laps later or so, maybe 8 laps later, into the wall. He was fighting Bowman for the lead. At this point, you think Bell's out of it, and that's why I say, man, he gets this, and here comes somebody else dying. Paramedics on the way. But you think he's done. He finishes 13th on the day. So good comeback for Bell. But lap 70, you have another restart. Tons of 3-wide racing. Reddick goes to the lead. And only a couple laps later, we have rain in 1 and 2. I was making that wee-woo sound of the ambulance, man. I was like, no, we can't end this. This is too crazy. But there was rain in 1 and 2. Caution comes out only a lap after. Good call by NASCAR, not trying to force it. They could have tried to force it to halfway to get the better TV number. Wasn't safe. They could have had him putter around under caution for an extra 10 or so laps. Acted like it was going to get better. Or left him, out there driving around. I'm glad they didn't. But the cars go to the pits, and we have a 19-hour and 5-minute red flag. We go to Monday, today, lap 82, we restart. Truex stays out as the leader. But as the 2 of Cindric, who is up front, is battling Martin Truex Jr., not even a half lap on cold tires, back up to speed. Boom. Bubba Wallace down to the bottom, 3 wide in the backstretch, takes the lead, makes a statement pass for the lead over Truex and Cindric. Awesome stuff. That was a ton of fun. That might be the move of the race, even if he didn't finish too well with it. Great move, getting the lead, and staying out there for a bit. Truex would start saving gas behind him, and at halfway, Truex had saved enough gas, passes the 23 car, and grabs the lead. With 97 to go, Ryan Preece would bring out the caution with a flat right rear, which was a problem for a lot of the day. A lot of these issues were caused by flat right rear tires, something that NASCAR and Goodyear need to look at, because it was very reminiscent, maybe not as much of a shit show, but very reminiscent of Texas last year, which I thought was one of the worst races of the year. Shocker. But not for the reason that Texas normally is for tire issues. It wasn't that bad of a roulette wheel, but it was damn close. But with this caution, you have a split decision for pitting, and Denny Hamlin would stall it on pit road. He was able to recover to a third-place finish, but this pretty much killed any chance he had at making a run for the win, because at that point, he was behind everyone, lost all track position on the day. And at the same time, was it Buescher that was first out? I don't remember who was first out, but with 93 to go, you have the restart with Bubba and Suarez fighting for the lead. Austin Dillon is slow. The 3 has another right rear flat, goes a lap down. No caution, though. While Suarez ends up with the lead. And at this point, you're thinking, man, Suarez is going to get a much-needed stage win. It's all good. And here out of nowhere comes Martin Truex Jr., flying through the field, like out of nowhere, battling for the stage win, out of the corner, pulls up beside Suarez, side drafts him, they go down side by side to the stage finish, and Truex sweeps the stages, is looking for max points over Suarez in second. Third was bad Brad Keselowski. Fourth, Bubba Wallace. Fifth, Alex Bowman. Again, much needed stage points, which I think is the reason Bowman is staying in the fight, even as an outsider, with an outside chance. Larson, 6th in the stage. 7th goes to Joey Logano. AJ Allmendinger, 8th. 9th, Austin Cindric. And Buescher comes home with the 10th place finish in the stage. 2 super chats here before we go to the final stage of the race, where we kind of saw the old Michigan, a strategy race, start to play out. Andrew Meyer, thank you for the 5. Since flipping at Charlotte, Buescher has 3 wins, 8 top 5s, and 17 top 10s. Not elite, but the same win total as Larson, Truex, Logano, Busch. And hey, I can pull out my stat book while I'm thinking about it right now. Looking at, granted, last week's into now, Buescher now has 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. He's right up there with guys like Bell with 11 top 10s. Same with Denny in 11. Harvick with 11. Byron, Logano. He's below Busch and Truex by a bit, but looking at the numbers, Chris Buescher is right up there consistency-wise with the best among the drivers. So, absolutely fun to watch, and a great bit of a comeback this year for that RFK and that 17. Nepa Racing Fan 927 for the 5. What's the next step for RFK? expand to 3 Cup cars, or return to Xfinity. Elliott and Bowman have a 0% chance of winning this year. 9-48 win in 2024. Well, speaking of the 9 ending the poll here, we have, does Chase Elliott make the playoffs? 73% of you say no, he misses out this year. 23% of you say he wins. 2% of you say, you know what? You still think he can get in off of points. Now I'll ask, how many wins does RFK get this year? So are we going to stay at 2? Are we going to get 3 or 4? Or are we going to get 5 or more? Those are the options. So yeah, how many wins does RFK get in 2023? 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more? Asking you guys now. And to get to the rest of your question, Napa Racing fan, what's the next step? Brad talked about not next year, but in the near future, he wants to expand to a 3-car operation. I would not be surprised if he's able to get maybe the 16 back from Call League, if they want to maybe keep the 13 as their second team. I don't see Call League expanding anytime soon, but that is what they're wanting to do. I'm fine for it. If RFK can return to prominence, if Roush can go back to be a winning organization again, expand all you need. Maybe I'd love to see him return to Xfinity too. Bring that 60 car back. In my opinion, a good Roush is good for NASCAR. I hated seeing Roush be so bad. Yes, it was easy to have him as a punching bag, but having them come back is so fun. The 97, I know some have said 97 would be for possibly Trackhouse. I don't know about that either. Charters are very expensive, as Alessandro brings up. Over $30 million now, possibly $40 million according to some reports. But you know, NASCAR, if I was NASCAR, I'd be doing everything I could to get back to 43 car fields. Get some more chartered guys in, get a JRM car in, maybe an extra RFK. Get a full field, almost like 43. If 40 of the 43 cars could be competitive cars, I think NASCAR would be even more fun to watch, because those usual 4 to 7 cars missing each week from a full field, man, it makes a difference. I've been watching old races. It makes a difference in a big way. But enough about the past. Let's look at, well, at least the far past. Let's look at the near past. The final stage of this race was 74 to go. Buescher goes to the lead, and then you have the yellow flag for Alex Bowman. At first, it looked like his teammate, Kyle Larson, got into him. A lot of people were blaming Larson. It was not his fault. There was a stack up on the restart. The 34 and the 38 got together, which caused Bowman to get kind of jumbled up in it. I think he goes off the bumper of the 14, though it was incidental contact. I know this term's overused, but I really think it was just either a mistake or a racing incident. I don't think anyone was really majorly at fault. It's just you have so many cars in that tight of an area, eventually somebody's going to become a ping pong ball. And unfortunately, it was Bowman doing his best reenactment of being the Detroit Pistons with that car. He gets out of the race. With 68 to go, you have a restart. Buescher gets out ahead over the 45 of Reddick, and the 12, Brian Blaney. Blaney fades back. Reddick stays with him. So with 44 to go, the cycle of green flag stops goes into effect. The 17 and the 45 pit. The 4, who's not too far behind him, of Kevin Harvick, pits too. Reddick beats Buescher off the pits. It's looking like at this point it might be Reddick versus Martin Truex Jr. if Truex is able to beat the 17, which he wasn't. But Reddick has a tire coming off, spins basically out, makes a great save through 3 and 4, comes down pit road. Once again, a 23-11 crew has cost their driver a much-deserved good finish. And I gotta say, at this point, I don't know what the fix is at 23-11. Like, what? It's not an easy one, because it's both teams at this point who are making mind-numbingly bad mistakes, bad choreographed pit stops. It doesn't even matter if they make a mistake like this. They're slow. They're just straight up slow. Every stop, I see the 23 or the 45 losing spots unless they're taking 2 tires or making a strategy play. It needs to change, because I think Tyler Reddick is a much better driver than he's shown. And at this point, I'm just going to say it now. 2311 has no business being in the championship conversation until they can fix this. This is, and I don't want to hear, oh, give him, like, if Gibbs misses, give him Gibbs crew. No, this needs to be something that is not a Band-Aid fix every week. It needs to be fixed majorly, internally. I don't know what Denny's got to do. I think they hire their own pit crews. It's not just like a JGR thing where they rent him out. I don't know if you got to get a damn scout to go out and see who are the best on pit road and then try and bribe them with money over. Lord knows you got Michael Jordan. You got plenty of money to spend. But at this point, it's getting old. It's been, 2-3 years now of the same crap. Get it fixed. Like, and you finally heard the frustration fully from Tyler Reddick. He was damn near screaming at them over the radio, and he has every right to be pissed because he very easily could have had his second win of the year. He probably could have had 3 or 4 wins this year if it wasn't for dumb mistakes or dumb things happening. Bubba Wallace could probably easily have a win at this point and not have to be in a points position to make the playoffs right now. But unfortunately, it's the same song and dance almost every single week. I agree. I believe, was it Irvin Alvarado that said it in the chat, that there needs to be a come to Jesus moment at that team, because at this point, in my opinion, it's completely unacceptable how bad they have been. Sorry about my rant. It's not even like a biased rant. It's just, it's getting old, man. It's getting old. But at that point, as we talk about the cycle playing out, it ends up being the 17 and the 19 going for the win. With 13 to go, though, after dogging him for lap after lap after lap after lap, Martin Truex Jr. makes his move, goes down low, doesn't complete the pass. They go back to the stripe with, I believe, 12 to go now. Unless it was 14 to go to 13 to go. Either way, it doesn't matter. With very few laps to go, Martin Truex Jr. is side by side in the corner. They go underneath Michael McDowell, and Truex gets loose, loses over a second. I think he tried forcing McDowell down the track. Maybe I'm biased here. I didn't see what the 34 did wrong, if he did anything wrong. But that really I think that was his moment to win the race. The dirty air was just too powerful on the 19, and 19 was starting to lose his handling anyway, even in clean air. And at that point, with 4 to go, Truex did get back. He made a charge, nearly got underneath him, but couldn't make it happen. Buescher gets the win over the 19. The dominant car of the day finishes second, and RFK gets another win. When was the last time? Was 2013 the last time RFK won at Michigan? Because I remember him winning when I was there. I remember them winning when I was there because Greg Biffle won. Did another RFK car win in? No, because 14 was Gordon and Johnson. Busch won 15, and then 2013, man. Damn, the first Michigan race since 10 years, over 10 years since Roush won. Good God, man. That is a statement win. Okay, I'm going to say that is a statement win. That straight up is a big statement. Can't say it any other way. By the way, letting y'all know, we have hit that 65K threshold. Let's go, baby. Woo! Thank y'all. I appreciate it a ton. We'll have plenty of stuff coming out this week, and NWP on Wednesday. That'll be a lot of fun. And NWP 400, our iRacing event, on in 15 days, August 22nd on IDK Players channel. So good stuff there. If there's anything else y'all want to leave on here, be sure to let me know. I'm going to read off the playoff standings, 13th through 20th, one more time. Kevin Harvick plus 180 in 13th. 14th, Brad Keselowski plus 168. Those guys pretty much need to just start and not have a new winner next week, and they're in. Bubba Wallace, 15th, plus 58 in. He's kind of in the same boat. If he just can keep it 56 points or more above Ty Gibbs for the next 2 weeks, he'll just have to start Daytona to make it in. From there, though, it's an absolute dogfight between 16th and 18th. 16th place, Ty Gibbs, plus 3 on the cut line. Michael McDowell falls out, minus 3 for McDowell in 17th. And 18th, Daniel Suarez with a very strong run, -5, makes up for that bad race couple back, or the last couple races, actually. AJ Allmendinger comes home 19th, -24 in the points, and 20th, Alex Bowman, -44. From there, I don't know who else is there, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And to end the poll here, 58% of you say that RFK is going to get 3 wins this year. 4 says 26% of you. 12% of you says that they're going to just, this is it. 2, 5 or more says 4%. Looking at Super Chat here from Mr. Bad Guy for 5. As a Wallace fan, I will say he will not win this year. His pit crew fails to give him even decent pit stops, puts great qualifying efforts to waste. I think that's possible. I think that's more possible than it was last year, which is insane for me to say. But your one hope is I will be for sure at Kansas, and I have been at both of Bubba Wallace's Cup wins, so, and he's pretty good at Kansas, so he could very well win that race in September while I'm there, if you believe in the trends. But man, what a week. What a weekend. And this Monday, we got Indianapolis. IRP for the trucks is this Friday night, which that's always wild. Indy Road Course doubleheader between IndyCar and NASCAR on the Xfinity side is Saturday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then the Indy Road Course on Sunday, which is sure to be a complete and utter crapshoot. But y'all, it's been fun. We got a ton to talk about this week. We got a ton to talk about next week. And I'll be there for all of it. So I can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for getting us up to 65K. It's amazing. And y'all are amazing too. So y'all have a great day. I will see you around. Later. Oh, no, one thing. Crazy last minute thing. This was the memorabilia thing. I found the old magazine I bought at Martinsville. Teresa Earnhardt, Person of the Year, 2001. Figured I'd show you that. Pretty crazy. Great read. All right. Now we're off. I knew I forgot something. But I'll see you around. Later.